All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're now live with Game Bread himself, Jorge Masvidal. Jorge, what's going on, man?
What's up, big man? How you doing, man?
Not too bad, brother. Thanks for joining us. Last time we spoke, you were about to hit the ski slopes, man. Tell us, man, how was the ski trip, and did you get any more of the national team guys approaching you to join them?
Well, I murdered the slopes again. I went out there to Tahoe. I murdered it. I did the most double blacks I've ever done in the trip. So I just it like clicked for me, and I was able to go from let's say I was doing like blues and stuff and blacks here and there. Now I could do like the double blacks and have fun doing them. So I'm picking it up rather quick.
That's intense, man. The double blacks always intimidated the hell out of me. Again, I was never much of a skier, but that's pretty impressive. How many did you do altogether?
Throughout the whole trip, it was a lot. So I went for like 5 or 6 days. But in one day, I got to do like 6 of them out of this park that had 10 of them. I think Kirkwood has 10 double blacks. I got to do like 5 or 6 of them.
Wow.
So I was happy with myself, man. It was a perfect trip for me, yeah.
Well, I know you've been staying busy. I saw you also did a seminar in Colombia recently. How was that?
Yeah, it was cool. I went out there to Colombia, did some seminars, some PR for the UFC. It was cool, man. It's my people, so I speak that language. So it's like me being back home in Miami, So it's always awesome for me to go to any Latin American country.
And it certainly only helps build your brand and, continues to push you towards the top in regards to stardom in the UFC. I'm wondering, have you officially started camp for this Maia fight? And if so, how has training been going so far?
Oh, I've been started training for Maia. I never stopped training for him. I always knew it was going to be him. So I was training for him always, Me and my partner Kobe just finished killing the session. We just got back literally from the session at the gym. And now we're going to feast out. But, man, I'm always training, man. I'm never not, I'm always ready, man.
Now, much like the Cowboy fight, you campaigned hard for this fight with Maia, continuously called him out on Twitter. Why do you think he eventually accepted the fight?
Because he's a man, so I take my hat off for him accepting the fight because that's real manly of him. I don't know what other reasons it could or could not be. I don't know what was said to him behind closed doors or if anything was even said. So all I can say is that my hat's off to him for taking the fight,
Yeah, it just seemed that he was a little reluctant at first. He was saying that he was going to hold out for the title fight.
Reluctant. Yeah, and then I think it started to make sense then that GSP could come down to the division, and then we're waiting indefinitely, So it's good that he wanted to get it cracking,
Now, you said recently that you think the UFC has been using you to get rid of these guys that they don't want to be champion. I'd imagine you were maybe talking about Maia specifically there. I'm wondering, what do you think the UFC, why do you think the UFC doesn't want Maia to be champion aside from like the obvious of his style not being the most exciting for fans?
Well, not just that, but when Cowboy was getting a little bit out of line, they said, hey, man, check this dude for us. I said, okay. And what did I go out there and do? I checked him twice in one night for the same price. Now people will do it cheaper and better,
Hashtag easy money.
Easy money.
Now, Maia's been able to do the Brazilian backpack thing to pretty much everybody at welterweight. What are you doing differently in regards to, training for him, and what will you do differently that his opponents have failed to do when they fight him?
Those dudes don't wrestle. I do. It's something that I take a lot of pride and joy in. That's why we called out Maia, because just how people were surprised about my striking against Cowboy, they're going to be even more surprised at my grappling in this fight. Because you can't beat a guy like Maia unless you could grapple at that level, And most of the dudes don't, especially the ones that he's fought, are not at that level of defensive wrestling or defensive jiu-jitsu, to beat him. I know that I am. I know that in every situation that we could come to an MMA, I'm going to outposition this guy, and I'm going to outwill him, and then he's going to give me for the fatal blow. Without
question, and that's been one of the things that I think has been underestimated throughout your whole career is your wrestling pedigree. But that being said, when you're getting ready for a guy like Maia with that grappling background, is there any special training partners that you're bringing in, or is it just business as usual at the gym?
I mean, it just happens to be that, like, my partner that I go with the most just happens to be a southpaw that's a really good wrestler, really good grappler, Two of them, actually. Kobe Covington and Nathan Cole. I'm always training with those guys, whether like I'm fighting the southpaw or not. They're always just fucking me up in the gym because that's some of the best wrestling at the gym, you know? So I'm always just with those guys. So it just happens to be that it just falls right into my hand, you know? It's perfect.
Perfect matchup, perfect timing.
Another partner of mine that I got to mention is Johnny. What's Johnny's last name? Johnny Evelyn, another good wrestler. D1 wrestler, real good. He's heavy right now, so he's putting the whoopings on me, you know. But that's the type of work, that's the type of room I get into, you know. It's all good wrestlers, all American dudes, national champions, guys that can push me, you know. I'm not going in there with like Muay Thai guys to wrestle. No, I'm wrestling with the wrestler, so I'm ready for whatever Maya's concocted in his head that he's gonna do to me.
Obviously, I'd imagine that the wrestling defense plays a big part here. You're very difficult to take down as it is, even harder to keep down. However, you know, are you putting an extra attention to the specifics of, you know, getting back up off of your back?
Oh, of course. You know, Maya's got different things that make him special compared to all the other grapplers that he does. You know, little tweaks that he does here and little tweaks that he does there. But it's nothing that I haven't seen. I mean, I am at American Top Team. We got a bunch of black belts running around there on everyday notice, you know. So I'm more prepared for this fight, you know. It's all up to me to show up.
Assuming you get the win in Dallas, the title shot has to be next for you, right? I mean, you know, it's going to be pretty hard for the UFC to deny you after defeating Maya.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. Yeah. It's for sure, I would think, you know. I mean, he's the number one guaranteed contender by a lot. So if I beat him, who am I, you know?
What did you think of Woodley and Wonderboy, that rematch? Did you think the judges got it right there? What did you think of the performance overall?
Yeah, I thought Woodley won. It wasn't the greatest fight to watch if you were looking for like action, you know, because both of them were real tentative, counter strike and waiting for the other one to come in, the other one to counter. So it wasn't the greatest fight. There was good action at times, but it wasn't the greatest fight. You know, I thought Woodley did win it though.
You know, they caught a lot of heat from the fans, and even Dana White said he wasn't happy with the way that main event went. Do you think it was just a difference in style matchup, you know, playing out in front of us, or do you think either guy was tentative?
I think they're both counter fighters, and I think Thompson felt Woodley's power, and he was like, man, you know, he was being extra tentative, extra like, I'm not going to come in, I'm not going to engage on this. Woodley, you know, they were both playing that game like, you come, you know. So it led to like a stalemate kind of.
Okay. Now, I know we touched on this before, and you've mentioned it, you know, that you'll cross the bridge when you get there, but it seems that we're approaching this bridge. I know you're tight with Woodley. I'm wondering, have you put any thought into, you know, having to fight him after Maya, and have you guys discussed this at all yet?
I mean, like I always tell y'all, I still got to know, like, I never overlook anybody, no matter who it is. It could be the Scrub City dude or not. If it's a dude with two hands, I never overlook him. So I'm not overlooking Maya or nothing. But if God willing, I got this victory, you know, obviously I should be fighting for the title. Whoever's holding the title, that's who it is, you know. I just don't like to talk about it because I'm not there yet. Now, once I was there,
okay,
I'd be like, all right, this is what's going to happen, you know. But since I'm not there yet, I'm like, whatever. When I cross that bridge, I'll get there.
Okay, fair enough. It just seems, you know, last time we spoke about it, you know, it was that exact answer, but, you know, we're right on the cusp of it, man. You get past Maya, the title shot's got to be yours. Yep.
Oh, it has to be. It has to be.
Changing gears here for a moment, the Make the UFC Great Again campaign, you also called out GSP, but to the surprise of most, you know, he actually took the fight with Bisping. Give us your thoughts on that fight. You know, can GSP beat Bisping, and why do you think the UFC agreed to make that fight happen?
Oh, obviously they agreed to make it happen because it's probably the one that's going to be the most profitable one. Maybe, who knows? You know, I mean, they both bring in nations. One brings in Canada, one brings in England, so it's a no-brainer. I get it from that point. Is it going to be the best fight of the year? I don't know. It could be a really good fight, I think. You know, but I think GSP wins. If it's a GSP of old, if I'm not saying he ever did or didn't, but a lot of fighters act different after USADA. So we're going to see if USADA had any effect on GSP or not, because I think the old GSP would have easily handled Bisping. Would have been able to take him down, time him, outbox him even with his jab, and get in on his legs and take him down. Let's see if USADA had anything to say about GSP.
Now, do you think if GSP gets past Bisping, do you think he comes back down to welterweight to challenge for that title as well?
No, I think he would. I mean, this is just, I don't know anything. This is not from people telling me nothing. This is just me speculating. I think they'd probably do that super fight, him versus Anderson Silva, or something crazy like that. You know, who knows, right?
Right, that's true. And I know that's a fight that everybody wanted for a long time, but kind of just like Mayweather and Pacquiao, it seems like it's too far gone at this point. But you make a good point there that fight would make a lot of sense.